Hey y'all, thanks for joining us. This is the Finding Yourself Book Club. My name is Michelle Raza. We are going to continue chapter 4 of Lindsay Gibson's Adult Children of Emotionally Immature Parents. Hopefully you've joined our Facebook book club and you've picked up your own copy and are up to speed with us. Please make comments so if you're watching on Instagram or Facebook or YouTube, please feel free to make comments. We do recommend that you have a journal handy. And for stuff that's more sensitive or personal, please do use your journal. If you'd like to consult with us, check out our website, www.findingyourselfsatx.com. We have our phone number there. You can contact us through email and request your first free consult if you're not already our client. So last time we talked all the way through chapter 4 until the exercise. And so that's where we're going to pick up today. Exercise. Determining your parent's type. To assess which of these 4 types might fit your parent, and just for the sake of not throwing this on you, let me go back and talk about the 4 types. So you have the emotional parent. The emotional parent instills feelings of instability and anxiety. The driven parent. The driven parent stays busy trying to perfect everything and everyone. The passive parent. The passive parent avoids dealing with anything upsetting. And the rejecting parent. The rejecting parent is withdrawn, dismissive, and derogatory. So this exercise will help you figure out what type of person you're dealing with. And this could be a parent or it could be somebody else in your life. Determining your parent's type. To assess which of these 4 types might fit your parent, read through the following lists and check off the characteristics you associate with your parent, bearing in mind that parents of any type can exhibit traits of the other types when very stressed. Characteristics of emotional immaturity common to all types include self-preoccupation, low empathy, disregard for boundaries, resisting emotional intimacy, poor communication, and absence of self-reflection, refusal to repair relationship problems, emotional reactivity, impulsiveness, and problems sustaining emotional closeness. As before, if you'd like to complete this assessment for more than one parent or step-parent, you can use the downloadable version of this exercise. Okay, so the emotional parent. It's a little checklist. Okay, so if you have a paper copy, you can use it there. I'm sure you can check out a copy from the library and maybe, use your journal to write down, or just listen along and you can always stop the video, go back as you need, etc. So emotional parent is preoccupied with his or her own needs, has low empathy, is enmeshed and not respectful of boundaries, is defensively non-intimate, doesn't engage in reciprocal communication, just talks about himself or herself. I certainly know lots of those people. Isn't self-reflective, has poor relationship repair skills, is reactive, not thoughtful, is either too close or too distant, blows up or cuts others off, has frightening or intimidating emotional intensity, expects his or her child to provide soothing and doesn't think about the child's needs, likes to pretend he or she doesn't run the show, sees himself or herself as the victim. Driven parent. The driven parent is preoccupied with his or her own needs, has low empathy, is enmeshed and not respectful of boundaries, is defensively non-intimate, doesn't engage in reciprocal communication, just talks about himself or herself, isn't self-reflective. You can see that there's some overlap in these. Has poor relationship repair skills, is reactive, not thoughtful, is either too close or too distant, has rigid values and perfectionistic expectations, is goal-obsessed and busy with machine-like tunnel vision, sees his or her child as a reflection without considering what the child wants, likes to run the show, sees himself or herself as a fixer. The passive parent. The passive parent is preoccupied with his or her own needs, has limited empathy, is enmeshed and not respectful of boundaries, can be sporadically emotionally intimate, engages only minimally in reciprocal communication, mostly talks about himself or herself, isn't self-reflective, has limited relationship repair skills, can be thoughtful on occasion, is either too close or too distant, can be kindly and fun but not protective, has a laissez-faire attitude that all is well, is affectionate toward the child but doesn't stand up for him or her, likes someone else to run the show or be the bad guy, sees himself or herself as mellow and good-natured. Rejecting parent. The rejecting parent is preoccupied with his or her own needs, shows no empathy, has impenetrable boundaries, seems disconnected and hostile, seldom engages in communication, isn't self-reflective, has no relationship repair skills, is reactive, attacking, and demeaning, is too distant, ignores his or her child or can be rageful toward the child, is often rejecting and angry, sees his or her child as a bother and doesn't want to get near the child, likes to mock and dismiss, sees himself or herself as independent from others. Summary. All four types of emotionally immature parents are self-involved and insensitive and therefore emotionally unavailable to their children. Their lack of empathy makes them hard to communicate with and difficult to connect with. They're all afraid of genuine emotion and seek to control others for their own comfort. None of them can make their children feel emotionally seen. All are draining to be around in their own ways, and ultimately all interactions center around them. In addition, all are incapable of true interpersonal reciprocity. Although there are four general types of emotionally immature parent, their children tend to fall into just two main categories: internalizers and externalizers. In the next chapter, we'll take a look at these two very different coping styles. So one thing I noticed the first time I was reading this book, and if you're following along with us, so you're at chapter 4, you may feel at this point that it's a little disheartening, it's a little depressing. You may see pieces of yourself in these four types, and I think that all of that is normal. I think especially, and she talks about this in her second book, but everyone gets to the point where they're too stressed to be able to handle anything appropriately. And so if you do see pieces of yourself in these four types, I would say don't be so hard on yourself. Have some compassion. Just because you had a rough day doesn't mean that you're all of a sudden an emotional person who can't build relationships with people. I think all of us are going to fall into these four categories sometimes. The point is that, and she says this, right? Because I myself had the questions like, okay, well, how do I know if I'm not one of these people? And how, am I the toxic person, or like we'll see on Reddit, am I the a-hole or whatever? So she basically says, if you're taking the time to do this self-study, if you're taking the time to read about it, then you're probably okay. And it doesn't mean you don't have things to work on. You probably do, but you're okay. And if you really feel like you need some more help in this, the first place to start would really be in building your emotional intelligence. And so we do have a few different workbooks that we like to use with our clients. And so you get a copy, we get a copy, and basically we as your life coach keep you on track, right, working through the book. So it's kind of like a buddy system, just to make sure that you do it on, that you stay on track with the book. You can also just go pick up your own emotional intelligence workbook and work through it. Hopefully you can stay on track by yourself or do it with a buddy. But really building your emotional intelligence is the best way to overcome a lot of these issues when you can see them in yourself. And then if you're feeling a little depressed because you see this in your loved ones and your family members, she starts really getting into how we can overcome in chapter 8. So if you have your own copy, you can read ahead. And then her second book really goes into further details of how we can deal with the EIPs in our life. So happy to be here with you. Please connect with us. Look forward to talking with you next week where we'll start chapter 5. And find me on Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, all those things. I hate social media, but I guess it's the way the world works nowadays. Take care. Hopefully you subscribed on YouTube, and reach out to me if you'd like to chat. All right, take care.